Okay, wonderful. Thank you everyone for being here and inviting me to present at the conference. My name is Vijay Ravindran. I'm the CEO and founder of a Washington, D.C. US-based company called Floreo. At Floreo, we have a vision of creating a world that's more open and accessible for the neurodiverse, those with conditions such as autism, ADHD, and anxiety. And we're fulfilling that vision by building what we call the behavioral therapy metaverse. This is a term that's fairly new, but it involves creating a virtual world. And so in Floreo, we're creating a virtual world to allow the neurodiverse to be able to gain new skills that allow them to succeed in the real world. I'm going to be going through an English-based presentation over the next 20 minutes. For those of you who might be more comfortable, you can use this QR code, which I'll leave for a moment, to access a version of our presentation in German that you can move along with me as I go through. Feel free also to ask any questions in the chat, especially if there's any terminology that I use that is unfamiliar. I'm going to wait 1 second so everyone can access that if they want. I'll show this QR code at the end of the presentation as well, in case you want to access this for future. So first, let me tell you a little about myself. This is a very personal company for me. I started the company based on my son. My son Manoj was diagnosed with autism when he was 2 years old. He's 12 today and has been through intensive therapy over the years. I came to know of Apex because we used one of the care professionals when he was 3 years old. And the Floreo company includes a number of members who have children or siblings with autism, and including a person who's on the spectrum himself. And so virtual reality might be a technology that's new to you, but there are many reasons to think about virtual reality as a powerful tool in helping kids and adults with conditions like autism gain new skills. I'm going to talk about a few of those. The first and most important is that we're going to talk about later in this presentation how research that Floreo has been able to conduct has shown that virtual reality is safe and effective and can lead to generalizable new skills. But beyond that, it's also a very efficient way to teach new skills because it creates environments that the therapist or parent that is working with the child can control. The technology is very inexpensive today. And it creates this repeatable environment that allows children to be able to practice a skill. So much of therapy for people with autism is built around practice. In virtual reality, you can create environments that are fun for the kids, which leads them to be more engaged, as well as to be able to collect data that it would be difficult to collect otherwise. The other thing that is really exciting about the technology is that it can be deployed over telehealth. So Floreo works with clinics today who have children and families with virtual reality headsets at home, enabling the therapist to be able to provide remote therapy. So to go back to that first point, it's safe and effective. Floreo was fortunate enough to receive a 4-year, $2 million grant from the National Institutes of Health in 2017. We worked with the Children's Hospital Philadelphia, to do research. And that research now includes a successful randomized controlled trial where the Floreo system was seen to be twice as effective as the control group treatment. In other words, people who received Floreo treatment did better in post-evaluation scores by the researchers at Children's Philadelphia than the people who received the control treatment, which was a program called Be Safe. We've also been able to run studies on our effect on joint attention, including eye contact, where we were able to show a 92% improvement in the children participating in the study. And we published those results in JMIR Pediatrics journal. We have a number of research partnerships today, including a direct partnership with the National Institutes of Health's National Human Genome Research Institute, where we're developing new treatments for ADHD. Those are entering the research stage. And we have a number of other partnerships beyond that. We also are working with large commercial partners in the United States, large ABA therapy companies like Cadient and California Psych Care, Irabina, one of the largest ABA companies in Australia, school districts like Redlands, California in outside of Los Angeles, and health systems like Oxnard in Louisiana. And for those of you who are therapy professionals, what's great about using virtual reality is that you can basically have it fit your practice very easily. The system is designed to be operated by an adult so that you still provide the advice and coaching that the child needs to learn new skills, but it essentially simplifies the need to be able to create environments where they're learning. You can use this capability both in person and over telehealth, which opens up new opportunities, especially given some of the limitations of video conferencing. And you can incorporate aspects of your existing therapy protocols if you're using ABA, prompt hierarchies, mastery schedules. The programming itself is what makes Floreo special. There's over 200 lessons today in the Floreo system, and it addresses a wide range of therapy needs. Early intervention areas such as gesturing and imitation or joint attention, social skills in schools, independent living skills like airport security, areas of socialization like making friends with peers, and important lessons that need to be learned around transportation, such as how to cross the street safely, how to catch the bus. And the data collection that goes with it enables information that therapists otherwise would not have. All of the lessons have tasks, and those tasks have success failure criteria, as well as measurements around timing that are made available to the adult. Floreo supports reporting, as well as recommending lessons based on the profile of that learner and their needs. And where we're going is using more and more data to provide for diagnostics as well as treatment plan management. It's a very simple system. Floreo today uses an iPad. It can be a 2015 or newer iPad, so it can be fairly old. And then that is combined with either a smartphone like an iPhone 7 or above and a headset like this one, which costs less than $15 in the US to create the virtual reality experience. And then coming soon, we have a new version for the Oculus Quest 2, which is the leading consumer virtual reality headset. And so now I'm going to briefly show you how Floreo works through this video. As I mentioned earlier, it's a two-device system. The child or learner wears the headset so you can see what they're seeing. The adult, therapist, parent uses the iPad. They can see what the child is seeing as the child is moving in virtual reality. They're able to choose lessons from a large growing catalog. Those lessons are organized by different categories of skills so that the clinician or parent is able to find sets of lessons that are applicable to the child that they're working with. Here in this lesson, which is a very simple one, A child moving their head is able to play keys on a marimba or xylophone. This is often a lesson that's used by therapists to be able to introduce virtual reality to the child. In this lesson, the character will make a pointing gesture at one of the animals, and the virtual reality is able to track that the child shifts gaze appropriately and looks at the animal and then receives a reward. The blue bar provides suggested praise language that the coach, the adult working with the child, can suggest. And then the adult is able to move the child to new lessons. In this lesson, you'll see how the adult is observing the child. So the child is going to select one of the animated children in the scene to push the swing. She's going to choose the child in the middle, whose name is Brandon. He's going to get up and walk towards the swing to push the elephant, but he needs to know what the gesture is to push. If the child needs help, they can signal that. The coach can press the show gesture, and now the character shows the gesture.
Show, push.
Now the child is able to show the gesture, and the coach records it as having been done successfully. And then the reward is being able to see the child push the elephant, as well as the stars coming down. It's been very popular to create lessons in the school to help kids with developing social skills. What you'll see here is a simple greeting from the child, animation.
Yeah.
And now the learner in virtual reality can practice good responses. If they struggle, the coach can code that and can also have a repeat.
See you after class.
And the lessons can get more and more complex. So here you see a number of children, and one of them passing by will talk to the child in virtual reality, and we can practice making conversation.
I keep accidentally humming that rug commercial jingle.
And we can code that they did a good job of responding. One of the advantages of VR is also that here children can interact with other children, as opposed to much of therapy where adults are interacting with the children. Our lesson catalog includes skills for older children and young adults. Here we help teach the organization of a grocery store so that the learner is able to understand how food is organized. Later lessons also help the learner with understanding how to shop with a shopping list. And we're also using this environment for creating some early job training lessons for adults looking for employment. In this lesson, the learner does move around in the virtual reality space. They are not actually moving in real space. Their gaze on the globe allows that movement. And you can see there's quite a bit of detail in this environment on a number of unique foods. This is one of our most popular lessons. Here we teach the basics around safety to cross the street. We can help teach skills like looking left and then right and verifying that the cars have stopped. We can teach them where the walk sign is, where the button is to activate the walk sign. Later lessons are also able to teach not to follow adults if they start crossing the street, even though it says don't walk, as well as verifying that the cars have actually stopped on a red light, since that doesn't always happen depending on what city and country you're in. so we can really practice the very important steps for safe street crossing here. And these lessons have been very, very popular because this is such an important skill, and one where if the children does incorrectly, it can be very dangerous. Here, in the United States, we have a real challenge with police officers interacting with individuals that they sometimes will think are dangerous, if they're not. So working with the community, we developed a set of lessons to teach how to answer questions from a police officer so that they could reduce the chance of the officer becoming violent.
Did you hear me?
The coach, the person operating the iPad, is able to code the quality of the answer.
Can I talk to you a moment?
So they can either say it's a good response and go to the next question, or reprompt the child using one of the orange
What are
buttons.
you doing here? I need more information. What are you doing here? And can you tell me your street address?
Because elopement is such an important concern with children with autism,
And what's your date of birth?
the officer will ask important questions around their address, their date of birth,
All right, you're free to
so
go.
that they can get help if they have a challenge. Later lessons include the officers becoming more angry if you answer incorrectly. So we really do challenge the child. Sorry, 1 second. So that concludes the presentation. Looking forward to questions. I'm going to leave the QR code up again for a few moments in case anyone wants to download the presentation in German. We welcome any communications from any of you. And in particular, I just wanted to add that we are actively translating the system to other languages. We're working with an Arabic partner in the Middle East, and we're looking forward to finding potentially a partner in the German market to develop a version that could be used in Germany. So if any of you have contacts or interest, please do reach out along that front. I'm going to turn off the sharing now, and if anyone needs the QR code, grab it now. 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Thank you so much, Vijay. Oh my gosh, I've never seen something like this before. It's oh my gosh, I even haven't been, I didn't know it's
Yeah.
possible. That's really amazing. I don't know. I don't want to know how much work that was and how much time that
just to
took
give a
to develop.
Well, I can share a little bit about that. So background on the company, we're about 5 years old. We've raised about $6 million in venture capital, which has allowed us to build the company. And we work with about 100 therapy businesses today, primarily in the US. Last year, the Floreo system was used in 17,000 therapy lessons. So it is starting to be used more and more by our customers. And basically we're growing, and we're really excited about the fact that this could eventually be as part of the standard of care for helping develop social skills.
Yeah, because I mean it's impossible to practice those situations with like all the cars, and like you would need so many persons. It's just impossible to do it in another way. That's wow, it's so impressive.
Well, thank you.
Let me see if there are any questions. Is this program available internationally?
Yeah, so in English, yes. We have a number of customers outside of the US who use the English version. And then, as I mentioned earlier, that we are looking for business partners in other countries who can help provide the money needed to also translate the system into other languages. So we are working on an Arabic version with a partner in the Middle East. And we would be excited about finding a German partner to develop a version for the German market.
So Nicole is asking what platform it is built
Sure,
on.
sure. I'll answer that in 2 levels of technical answer. From a virtual reality headset standpoint, the system today uses iPhone 7s or above iPhone and what are called Google Cardboard headsets like this one. So it's not actually cardboard, it's plastic, but there's basically a standard that allows a number of headsets that can fit smartphones. We do have an Oculus Quest version coming out in the summer. And so that'll be our second VR headset platform. At a technical level, the content is built using the 3D gaming engine Unity, which is common amongst many VR applications.
Wow. So it is used for therapy in general, right? Like not only for like children with autism, because it's
so
you can really use it in a lot of different ways.
It is, although
right?
the primary market and the research for the system is for the autism condition. So our primary customers today are applied behavioral analysis or ABA style therapy clinics. We do have speech therapy clinics also as customers. We do have psychologists using it. We have school systems using it for special education.
Right.
And it's amongst these school customers where they've been more broad in using it with children with ADHD and anxiety and other cognitive conditions like schizophrenia and OCD. We this past summer we
also
released
anxiety, I think.
Yeah, and so we have content today that also addresses emotional regulation. So it's very important in the context of anxiety. And we have new content today for executive function. So areas such as planning, organizing, and flexibility, which are, of course, important challenges for children with ADHD.
Does anyone have another question? You are also very welcome to come on stage if you want. Then you can share your audio and video. If not, then I will just ask my questions. So let's give them a little bit time to think. What I was thinking about is like you mentioned that control treatment. What kind of control treatment was that? Was it also like this virtual reality?
No. So
right? That's not existing.
Right. So the randomized, we at the moment we're the only product on the market for these conditions around autism in children and ADHD in children. There are other virtual reality treatments emerging for other cognitive conditions. The research, specifically that research, which was our first randomized controlled trial, was involving those police officer interaction lessons, and the control group received the leading therapy for that training, which is called Be Safe. It's used by a number of clinics. It's a video modeling based program.
Okay.
And then the treatment group, of course, received Floreo. So in that study, there were 50 participants. 25 received Floreo for 3 45-minute sessions. 25 received Be Safe for 3 45-minute sessions. 1 month after the interventions ended, a Philadelphia police officer interviewed all of the participants. That was then coded by the researchers at Children's Philadelphia to gauge effectiveness.
Okay.
And Floreo scored twice as well as Be Safe in the study.
Wow.
And then those results were presented at the INSAR, the International Autism Conference last year. So.
Oh my gosh. Wow, that's so impressive.
Yeah, no, we're really proud of it. And we have a second randomized control trial finishing soon that deploys the system completely over telehealth, because we also want to prove to everyone that virtual reality and telehealth is an effective way, because that opens up so much more therapy that can be delivered directly into the home. Let's take Julie's question. She said, the graphic.
No stupid questions.
Yeah, is this typical of VR? So we adjust the animation style to the developmental age of the intended lessons. So you'll notice, for instance, that the elephant and the animals, those are intended for a younger developmental age. Now, as we know, there are many children or adults with autism that sometimes have great needs and needs for support. So some of these lessons are applicable, but it's not meant to be realistic at some of the more basic skills. For the police officer interactions, we use skills. Yes, so regarding the movement speed, we intentionally keep things fairly slow. Some of the more advanced lessons do move more quickly and put more pressure on the child, but in general, we have designed things to be slower because it accommodates a very wide range of individuals. So we have children who might more classically be diagnosed as Asperger's historically, who are, going to college and taking jobs. We have to make lessons that work for them, but we also have people who, need high levels of support. And so we need the lessons to be gentle enough that allows them to be able to build the skills up. And then often we'll have multiple lessons that are built off of the same interaction style, but at different speeds. So we can basically become more advanced. I hope that helps.
Any more questions? We still have some minutes left. So how big is your team? I don't know. I mean,
So we have about 18.
It must be like a big company, but
no, we're very small still. So we have 18 people on the team, including sales. The core of the team includes a neurodevelopmental pediatrician, who's our chief medical officer, and an experienced clinical therapist, who's our head of therapy content. They work very closely with a game designer, animation art director, who
like one game designer.
So she's the head, and then she has people who help her. But
Okay.
she's very talented and had worked on more intensive games for Sony before, and so the three of them design the lessons, and then we have a team that does the code, the programming and such. And so so if anyone's interested in getting started, you can go to floreotech.com. So FLOREOTECH.com. We have different ways that you can contact us. We're accessible for both parents as well as clinics. And so if you want to just use Floreo in the home, you just have to find your own iPhone and iPad. These types of headsets are very easy to buy. You can go to places like Amazon and buy them for fairly low cost, and we can help you find right models. And then you just download the application from the Apple App Store, and we give you an account so that you can start using it. For businesses, you can talk to our sales team, and we can talk about multi-seat licenses. And in the US, for businesses, we also have equipment rental programs available. And then on our website, to answer Nicole's question, we have a research page that links to our published studies on the effectiveness of the system. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'd love to take Francisco's question. I'll take both. So Jennifer's question on age. So we have children as young as 4 using Floreo. So I would say the main population using Floreo today is between 6 and 14 age-wise. But we have content that spans, and it's really about, for the younger kids, it's more about, can they support the weight of the headset, and does the headset fit so they can see in a good way? To take Francisca's question, we are, first, I would say that we're sensitive about creating dignified experiences for autistic individuals, and a key person on our team is an adult on the autism spectrum who advises us on our content design for this reason. He's a published author in the autism space. His name is Sam Farmer, and he has a great book on employment as an autistic and the challenges he has faced. The lessons are designed to be very gentle around. So to give you an idea on the eye contact side, the main goal is, can you face the person? We don't try to, in a very detailed way, say like, you need to look straight at the person's eyes. Part of that's because of the limitations of the technology, but part of that's also the design that we're trying to help individuals be successful, but we don't need them to, have to mask to dramatic degrees like sometimes are expected in therapy settings. Ultimately, though, this is a tool for parents and therapists to use. And so therapists and parents have to make good decisions about to what degree they use tools like these to help someone who is, needing to enter the world and face the challenges that so many neurodiverse face. It's a highly personal decision to what degree masking is needed and to what degree the world should conform to the neurodiverse versus the neurodiverse should conform to the world. Our goal is to give as many tools as possible so that they have the choice on what they need to be successful. And, depending on their age, often those choices are being made by parents.
Of course. Great. Thank you so much, Vijay.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I think, yeah, so if someone wants to ask another question, but I think it's almost time. We will soon have something going on this main stage, the next presentation.
Okay. Great. I just saw Marin's question, so I'll just take that real fast before we leave.
Sure.
I think adding music to our platform is a wonderful idea. We do a little bit of it with the xylophone playing. And we've had some ideas of making that more detailed, but we haven't built that yet. I think someone else asked this question earlier. Just to take this, 95% of the lessons we've built have been because customers have asked for it. So what we have found is that once professionals and parents start using virtual reality with their child, they immediately think of new things that could be really helpful. And in particular, therapists quickly know what they can't teach well. So for instance, one of the first things that the first therapist we worked with said, I really want to teach people how to cross the street. It's so dangerous. And it's so hard to tell someone inside of a therapist office how to do that. And so whether that's music or attending concerts or there's so many opportunities, and we listen really closely to our customers to build things. So we have a long list of what we want to build in 2022. So thank you again, everyone, for attending. Please feel free to reach out. I think you have my conversations through my contact information through the platform. Otherwise, you can contact us through the website, and we would be happy to talk to all of you.
And we are very happy if you take some time to give us some feedback about the session. Thank you so much, Vijay.
Thanks. Great. Thank you so much. I'm sure.
See you on the main stage.